Morning folks, San Jacinto Trail Report on Thursday the 19th of March 2020, just after 10:30 in the morning, and I'm here at Strawberry Junction. Change of scenery. That's about PCT mile 183. As you can see, we've got some fresh snow, and as you might also be able to see, that's the PCT to the south, to Strawberry, Cienega and Annie's Junction, and back that way is PCT northbound out towards Fuller Ridge. And what might be obvious is there are no tracks and really no sign of fresh tracks. So it stopped snowing about half an hour ago. We've had about probably another fresh couple of inches this morning on top of in Idlewild. Yesterday we had about 3 inches. Yesterday evening I went up South Ridge. There was about 4 inches at up to about 7,000 feet there, and that's all on top of what we had on Tuesday, the 17th, which was, I reported on the website, kind of an inch or two at most elevations. Yesterday morning I passed by the PCT at Highway 74, so about mile 151, and there was a dusting even there, so they might be up to about an inch or two at this point. So essentially the whole PCT in the San Jacinto Mountains, between about miles 151 and probably something like 195, 196, has got snow on it now. Depth's not too much of a worry. Here at Strawberry Junction there's only about 5 inches of fresh, because as you can probably see with the sun trying to come out now, it's pretty exposed up here, and it tends to melt off fairly quickly. So even between little gaps between some of the storms, there's been a bit of melting. Currently in Idlewild there's about 4 inches or so, but it's pretty patchy, certainly around town, depending on melting. So that's what we have had. In terms of the high country, so from kind of here up, I was up at the peak on Tuesday, 2 days ago. That only had a couple of inches then, for a total of about 2 feet, 24, 25 inches. Before folks get too excited about big snow in the high country, it's actually been above the cloud. Certainly today you can see how bright it is. It's been above the cloud. Cloud levels typically being about between 8,500 and 9,500 feet. Long Valley's picked up a couple more inches at 8,500 feet, but the peak's still at or under 30 inches right now, and may have been exposed. That's what's happened. What's going to happen is a significant warm-up over the next 3 or 4 days. Not so much in the high country, which stays below freezing, but certainly at lower and mid elevations. I think particularly over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, sunny and comfortably into the 50s, and being late March, the sun angle's pretty high, so melting's fairly rapid. Certainly there'll be, I think, pretty prodigious melting below 8,000 feet, and probably some on exposed slopes below 9,000, areas like Angel's Glide, which is the PCT between about 179 and 180, 181 and a half, 180.5, something like that. That's through until about Monday or Tuesday next week, and then I think by, so what's that, the Wednesday the 25th, then there's a bit of another storm coming through again, another fairly small one, a few inches at all elevations, and then that might be it for March. So most importantly, in terms of gear, for day hikers, we're looking at currently post-holing. I post-holed up to here. This is at 8,100 feet, through a few inches. Once there's been more traffic and traction and compaction rather on, for example, the heavily traveled trails like Deer Springs, the lower Deer Springs trail down there behind me where you can see my tracks, and Devil's Slide Trail, microspikes may become useful. They probably will become useful, especially with some freeze-thaw cycles on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Higher up, above 8,000 feet, snowshoes probably useful, and certainly above 9,000. I've been recommending snowshoes as strongly recommended above 9,000 feet. So in other words, above the level of the PCT for a couple of weeks now. For through hikers, the few through hikers that might still be out on the trail, their post holing is pretty straightforward on most of the trail. It's only a few inches. It's really nice powder. With so few hikers out there won't be much compaction. I couldn't recommend microspikes at the moment. Decent footwear with poles has been working really well for me. Certainly up to about 9,000 feet, which is as high as the PCT gets up here. By decent footwear, I'm not necessarily referring to the kind of typical topos and ultras and so on. They're not going through this powder, post holing through this powder in those it's going to be pretty rough. Feet are going to get certainly going to be wet and cold. But that's up to the through hikers to decide. And that's going to be the case for the foreseeable future. And otherwise, as always, a very beautiful day up here in the San Jacinto Mountains. Annabelle and I are going to enjoy the rest of our hike, and safe hiking, everyone.